John, the beloved disciple of God. What did he know that the others didn't? The silence of the closest one. John. Not Simon Peter, not James, not Thomas. It was John, the beloved disciple, the only one who reclined on Jesus' chest during the Last Supper. Have you ever wondered why him? Why that privilege of proximity? What secret was whispered in that chest, to which no one else had access? When everyone fled, John stayed. When the world darkened at Golgotha, he was there at the foot of the cross. Jesus didn't give him a prophecy, nor a promise of power. He entrusted him with his mother. Who does that, if not someone with absolute trust? Mary, full of grace, was placed into his hands. And yet, there is little spoken about John. Very little. Why? Why is the most beloved, the most faithful, the only one who didn't betray or doubt, the most silenced from the pulpits? What revelation did John keep that wasn't meant to be shared? The apocalypse wasn't given by Jesus to Peter, nor to Paul. It was given to John, exiled on an island, writing visions that to this day generate fear, confusion, and theories. What did John see that he couldn't say out loud? What did he hear as he leaned his ear on the heart of the Son of God? Some say that John didn't die like the others, that he was taken up, that he saw the end before the beginning, and left warnings that were hidden or dismissed, not out of ignorance, but because they revealed something that the powerful didn't want you to know. John wasn't just a beloved disciple. He was a witness to heavenly secrets, and perhaps the last guardian of a message that has yet to be understood. The disciple who did not die. According to tradition, all the apostles died as martyrs except for John. Was the world not worthy of his blood? Or was there a deeper reason for his survival? Some ancient writings, discarded from official councils, suggest that John never died, that he was not executed, crucified, or beheaded. They say he was transformed, that his body saw no corruption, that he was taken like Elijah, like Enoch. Does that sound exaggerated? Fantastical? Remember, it was Jesus himself who said about John in front of Peter, "If I want him to remain until I come, what is that to you?" John 21 verse 22. A statement so strange that it sparked rumors even among the disciples. They believed that John would not die, and John never fully denied it. He only clarified that Jesus didn't say he wouldn't die, but, "If I want him to remain." Remain where? On earth? In a different spiritual state? As an observer of time and history? What if John is still among us? What if he is the silent guardian still waiting for the hour of his final revelation? Early Christian tradition is filled with mysterious accounts of this apostle. From visions in Ephesus to unexplained disappearances, John's life is a puzzle that doesn't fit with the others. He wasn't a martyr, but he was exiled. He wasn't killed, but he was silenced. Maybe John didn't die because he still had something to say. The gospel that defies time. While the other evangelists begin with genealogies, births, or preachings, John begins with the oldest mystery of all. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. John 1 verse 1. John does not recount a merely human Jesus. He writes about an eternal, cosmic Jesus beyond time. His gospel is not biography. It is revelation. He does not narrate. He interprets. Why? Because John saw what others did not see. While Matthew, Mark, and Luke present miracles, parables, and events, John takes us to the heart of the divine mystery, the incarnation of the Word. How could a fisherman write with such theological depth? Who taught him that? Or, what was revealed to him when he rested his head on the chest of the Son of God? Don't forget this. Only in his gospel does Lazarus appear, the man whom Jesus loved and raised from the dead. A story so powerful that it's not found in any other gospel. Why? Could it be that the story of Lazarus conceals a deeper truth about death and resurrection? A foretaste of John's own destiny? A mirror? Even stranger, John does not name himself in his gospel. He calls himself the beloved disciple. Never I, John, always from the shadows. Why would someone hide their name in the most intimate testimony of Christ? Modesty or caution? What John wrote was not just for his time. It was for the end. For when the ears of the world were ready to hear what he could never say out loud. The apocalypse they didn't want to reveal. Exiled on the island of Patmos, isolated from the world, John received a vision that shook the foundations of the early church. It wasn't a letter, it wasn't a parable. It was a celestial download, the apocalypse. But why John? Jesus entrusted the secrets of the end of the world, not to Peter, to whom he gave the keys, nor to Paul, the great preacher, but to John. Why? Because John would not fear telling the truth, even if it hurt. Because John did not belong to religious or political powers, but to the heart of God. And yet, for centuries, they tried to silence his vision. There were councils where they questioned whether to include Revelation in the Bible. Some wanted to remove it. Why such fear of these pages? Because in them, the corruption of religious systems is exposed. Because in them, there appears a prostituted church, rich in gold but empty of God. Because in them, the truth is revealed. Not everyone who says, "Lord, Lord," will enter the kingdom. John did not write a horror book. He wrote a warning for the blind who believe they can see. And there is something even more unsettling. At the end of his vision, he is forbidden from writing certain things. Seal up the things which the seven thunders uttered, and do not write them. Revelation 10 verse 4. What did John hear that we were not allowed to read? Why does that knowledge remain hidden to this day? Perhaps the most dangerous part of the apocalypse was never published. Perhaps it is still waiting for those who have ears to hear. John spoke of love with an almost strange insistence. God is love, he wrote. He didn't say, God has love or God loves. No, he said, God is love. 1 John 4 verse 8. But what kind of love is that which can open the seals of judgment? What type of love carries the cross and unmasks false shepherds? John was not speaking of a weak or emotional love. He was talking about a divine energy, something that could not be manipulated or faked. A love so pure that, upon touching it, it would either transform or destroy. And that love, according to him, was the only key to discerning between the children of God and the children of the devil. So clear. Anyone who does not love does not know God. 1 John 4 verse 8. Powerful. He doesn't say the one who doesn't pray or the one who doesn't go to church. He says, the one who does not love. John gently denounced what others shouted in condemnation, and that made him more dangerous, because his message could not be domesticated. He didn't sell fear, but truth. He didn't offer power, but surrender. That's why many religious people didn't know what to do with him. Love as a sword? Love as judgment? Maybe John discovered that love, in its purest form, destroys all spiritual hypocrisy. And that is not preached from just any pulpit. The last witness of the mystery. Many forget that John was a witness from the beginning to the end. Not only did he see miracles, he saw the transfiguration, heard the voice from heaven, and was the only apostle present at the exact moment when Jesus died. And that detail is no small matter. It was John who heard Jesus' last words. Not just, "I thirst," or "Father, into your hands I commit my spirit," but that unsettling phrase directly addressed to him, "Woman, here is your son. Son, here is your mother." John 19 verses 26 to 27. Jesus wasn't just speaking of care. He was talking about a spiritual transfer, a symbolic act of authority and legacy. John wasn't just receiving Mary, he was receiving the hidden knowledge that she had also kept in her heart since Bethlehem. John was the only apostle who lived alongside the mother of the Messiah, the only one who could hear directly the stories that even Luke couldn't fully detail. What secrets did Mary confide in him? Did she speak of the angels, of Joseph's dreams, of the lost child in the temple speaking with the wise men? And why, after all that, did John write only 3 brief letters and an evangelistic gospel full of symbolism? Why didn't he recount more details? Why, with so much power in his hands, did he choose silence? Did he perhaps understand that certain truths couldn't be spoken openly? That they would only be revealed in the time of the end, when the world was ready to listen without going mad? John was the last witness, the one who remained when all the others had gone. And the last witnesses always know more than they say. The guardian of the final time. Many believe that Revelation is just a book of symbols. Dragons, beasts, trumpets, bowls. But what if I told you that it was all real, just on another level of reality? John didn't just have visions. He was taken to another dimension. The text states it plainly. I was in the Spirit on the Lord's day. Revelation 1 verse 10. That's not a metaphor. That's a shift of planes. A transfer. An experience outside of time. And from there, he saw the world's outcome. Not as a prophecy to scare, but as a warning to prepare. But the most chilling part is this. John saw a beast that looked like the Lamb, but spoke like a dragon. A religious figure, seemingly good, but diabolical inside. It had 2 horns like a lamb, but spoke like a dragon. Revelation 13 verse 11. Do you see it? A false church, dressed in holiness, perverting the name of God and seducing the entire world. Could this be the most dangerous warning of all? That in the end times, the true threat will not come from the outside, but from within the sacred. John didn't state it clearly because he couldn't, but he left it written, between the lines, in visions, for those who know how to read. Perhaps the greatest enemy of faith is not atheism, but the lie disguised as devotion. And John, the beloved, knew it. The return of the silent one. Everything seems to end with John slowly disappearing from the scene. There are no accounts of his death. There is no certain tomb. Only rumors. Only whispers. The early Christians said, John did not die. John was taken. And some, now forgotten by official history, spoke of a John who would return when the truth was about to be buried forever. What if he is hidden among us, even today? What if his mission is not over? Remember, Revelation ends with an urgent call. The Spirit and the bride say, Come. Revelation 22 verse 17. But just before, a chilling warning. If anyone adds to these things, God will add to him the plagues written in this book. And if anyone takes away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God will take away his part from the book of life. Revelation 22 verses 18 to 19. John did not only see the end, he was commissioned to protect it. And if his life did not end with a tomb, then his work still breathes. John is the guardian of the mystery, the living witness of the word, the only one who can say, And we saw his glory, the glory as of the only begotten of the Father, full of grace and truth. John 1 verse 14. He was not the strongest. He was not the most famous, but he was the most loved. And true love does not die.